The Great Wall is in China. The Chinese built the Great Wall thousands of years ago. They wanted to protect their country from unfriendly people. First, they built small walls around their towns. Then the emperor, Shi Huangdi, joined the walls and built new parts. He wanted to make one long wall, the Great Wall. Shi Huangdi was the first Qin emperor. The name Qin sounds like chin. The word China comes from the name Qin. Shi Huangdi made many changes in China. He wanted China to be strong and modern. But many Chinese did not like Shi Huangdi. He didn't care about the people. Many people died because of his changes. Thousands of men worked on the Great Wall. It was very hard work. Many men got sick and died. Over 1 million people died to make the wall. Their bodies are buried in the wall. Some people say the Great Wall is the Wall of Death. Other Chinese emperors added to the wall and made it better. The Ming emperors added thousands of tall, strong buildings in the years 1368 to 1644. Men stayed in the buildings to protect and repair the wall. They were called guards. Sometimes more than 1 million guards worked on the wall. They were born on the wall and grew up there. They married there and died there. Many guards lived on the Great Wall all their lives. Sometimes unfriendly men came to the wall to start problems. The guards made a fire to show they needed help. Guards from other parts of the wall ran along the top of the wall to help them. We don't know exactly how long the Great Wall is. There are many different parts of the wall, and some parts fell down. The wall is about 4,000 miles, 6,400 kilometers long, and about 25 feet, 7.6 meters high. It is about 15 feet, 4.6 meters wide at the top. Buses and cars can drive along it. Today, the Great Wall is the largest structure in the world. Some people say you can see the Great Wall from space. But in 1969, an astronaut who traveled in space said he did not see any buildings, not even the Great Wall.
About 1/2 of Australia is desert. This area is the Outback. The name comes from the words out in the back of the mountains and cities. The weather is very hot and dry, and the winds are strong. Sometimes there is no rain for many years, but when it rains, there is water everywhere. Not many people live in the Outback. The people in the Outback have cattle or sheep farms. The farms are called stations. The stations are very big. Some stations are as big as a small country. Life is difficult because everything is far away. Sometimes it takes a day or two to drive to the next station. Towns are usually far away, too. People go to town once a week or once a month. The station homes are very large because they have many purposes. They must be big so visitors can sleep there. Houses also have large rooms to keep extra things. Families buy a lot of food and supplies in town. Life in the Outback is different in other ways. People get mail once a week. Children don't go to school every day. They study with a school called the School of the Air. The teacher and student talk to each other with a special radio. Most stations have an area for airplanes to land. It is like the station's own airport. Sick people call the Royal Flying Doctor Service. A doctor gives advice over the radio. In an emergency, the doctor picks up the sick people in an airplane. Then they go to the nearest hospital. People in the outback are careful when they travel. Before a farmer travels to town, he tells a friend. The friend knows what time the farmer is coming. If the farmer is late, his friend knows there is a problem. The friend will look for the farmer. People must know how to do many things. They must know how to fix their car if it breaks down. They always carry extra gasoline, water, and parts for their car. Life in the outback is very difficult, but it is good. Here you are close to nature, and there are many unusual animals. You also have a lot of freedom.
Elephants are a very important part of Thailand's history. They are symbols of power and peace. They are strong and gentle at the same time. But many years ago, they also did important work. They helped the Thai people get wood from their forests. In the past, the Thai people cut down a lot of trees. In 1989, the government made a law to stop this. They wanted to keep the trees in the forest. Today, the Thai people cut down only a few trees. Some elephants work in the forests to help them. The forests are in the mountains. Many trucks and machines cannot go up the mountains, but elephants can. Men cut down the trees, and the elephants pick up the trees. Then the elephants carry the trees to the river. The trees float down the river to other men. The men cut the trees into pieces of wood. In the past, elephants trained for many years to learn how to work. Each elephant had its own trainer, or mahout. A mahout spent his life with the same elephant. Fathers wanted their sons to be mahouts too. Mahouts bought baby elephants for their sons. First, the baby elephant stayed with its mother. When the elephant was 3 years old, it lived with the boy. The boy and the elephant grew up together. The boy took care of the elephant, learned a lot about each other. A mahout trained, fed, and took care of his elephant. This was a difficult job. An elephant eats 550 pounds, 250 kilos, of plants and drinks 80 gallons, 300 liters, of water every day. It trained every day for 6 hours in the morning. The elephant got used to the mahout. The elephant remembered the mahout's voice and smell. It understood its mahout's instructions. The elephant obeyed its mahout. It did not obey other mahouts. The mahout trained the elephant for 20 years. At age 20, the elephant began to work. Elephants worked for about 35 years. They stopped work at age 55 or 60, like people. Today, most elephants and mahouts have no work, but the elephants are still very important in Thailand. Visitors to Thailand want to see them. The Thai people are very proud of their elephants. Antarctica is like no other place in the world. It is unique. It is very big. It is like the United States and Australia together. Antarctica is the coldest place in the world. The temperature is sometimes minus 125 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 87 degrees Celsius. August and September are the coldest months because there is no sun. Antarctica is at the southern tip of the world. It is the highest continent. It is 10,000 feet high. Antarctica also has very strong winds. The wind sometimes blows 200 miles an hour. It is also the driest place in the world. Antarctica is drier than the Sahara Desert. Antarctica is also empty. There are huge glaciers and ice everywhere. A glacier is an area of ice that moves slowly. The ice and glaciers are beautiful, but most plants and land animals cannot live on the ice. It is too cold. There are no trees, no rivers, and no cities in Antarctica. There are no land animals. Only penguins and other seabirds live there. Antarctica does not belong to any one country. In fact, every country owns Antarctica. More than 20 countries have stations in Antarctica. A station is a place where scientists do experiments. There are separate stations for different countries. The scientists are the only people who live in Antarctica. In all, over 4,000 people live at the stations in the summer. Over 1,000 people live there in the winter. Life on an Antarctica station is hard. It is like life on a space station. The sun shines for 6 months, and then it is night for 6 months. People usually have problems with sleeping and eating. They eat more because they are not busy. In an emergency, it is hard to get help. In 1999, an American doctor named Jerry Nielsen realized she was sick. She had cancer. It was winter, and airplanes could not land in Antarctica. She was the only doctor there. Dr. Nielsen had no choice. She had to stay. An airplane dropped medicine to her, and she took care of herself. Several months later, Dr. Nielsen returned to the United States to get special medical help. Today, more and more people visit Antarctica. Ships go to Antarctica during the summer months from November to February. People want to visit this unusual place, but they don't want to live there.